Some of the best Disney memories don't happen in the parks. They happen outside of them, whether it's riding the Skyliner just for fun, catching the fireworks from a resort, or spending a morning on a pool water slide. There's a lot of magic to be found without setting foot in a theme park. In today's episode, we're going to share 10 of our favorite things to do outside of the Walt Disney World theme parks and how to build a non park day that's still packed with the things that make Disney special. We're also going to get a few quick updates on what's new inside the parks, including some changes to Multipass with the opening of Test Track 3.0, a few headline worthy stories that you've probably already heard a little bit about on Disney Cruise Line and throughout the parks. And then we're going to get into a little bit of that news and jump right into some of your listener questions also, if we have time to get to them. Welcome back to the Adventures of a Disney Dad podcast. I'm Matt, a travel agent with the Magic for Less Travel and a dad of three. Joining me, as always, is my co-host Chip, who is fresh off of a Disney resort-only trip, which is kind of the inspiration for this episode. And we're here to help you plan a smarter vacation, worry a little bit less, and make the most out of it. So let's get right into it. Chip, before we jump into all things, Robinson family vacation, we've got to talk a little bit about the news because we've got a lot of it.
Yeah,
And
there's some good news. There's some dad news in there.
yeah, it doesn't have a bad ending, but we're going to talk about it anyway. So first, the big one is Test Track 3.0 got its opening date, which is going to be July 22nd. And for anyone planning a trip, especially here at the end of July, it's important because it made a big change for Multipass. Number one, there is going to be standby lines available. Number two, cast member previews and AP previews are available before it's open to make sure you look up those dates because it is select dates that those previews are going to be available. But the big change is it's going to be a tier one Lightning Lane Multipass attraction along with Frozen and Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. Soarin' is going to move to a tier two attraction at Epcot. And I feel like this doesn't change a whole lot for me, Chip. I still feel like my strategy is you rope drop either Remy's or Frozen. You pick the other one as your first multipass, and then you hope to get Test Track as your next multipass selection, just like you used to do with Soarin' when it was a tier one. Do you agree with that process? Like, what's your thought on this?
See, I'm torn. I'm with you on the rope dropping idea. I would probably get Test Track as my first Lightning Lane just because my son wants to do it. He doesn't remember doing it a few years ago, so he's like, I want to do it again. And I think that's probably the biggest thing. And then we would try and catch Frozen later on in the night, which we've done in the past. So I would rope drop Remy's and then Test Track and obviously go get Soarin'. But
And I think that comes from the perspective of someone that's done them before, right? Like you haven't done the new attraction, so you prioritize it. And I think there's a lot of people that'll do that. But if you're planning like your first Disney trip or you've never ridden any of those attractions, I think Frozen or Remy's has to be your top pick.
You know what, man? I think it depends on who you're with. If you're with two boys,
that's true.
If you're with
sure. Let's say it would be the optimal pick. Like I think those are still going to be the rides that go first. Maybe outside of the first week of Multipass. I think Frozen and Remy's will be the ones that are picked before Test Track.
I think so too, especially after the first week. I mean, cast member previews have been going on since at least Thursday or Friday. I know I got invited to go Friday. I wasn't able to do it, but it looked. You're right. I think everybody's going to have already ridden it. It's going to turn out to be like Tiana's.
Yeah, very very much so. And Tiana's is probably the number two pick behind Peter Pan's Flight at Magic Kingdom. And our friend Chris, who is a cast member in the Disney College program, I think he wrote it 3 times the first day of cast member previews and said he really really enjoyed it. So
he was our adopted brother on our vacation. So I know his mom sent my wife some funny things about just him being with all those little kids again, and she enjoyed it. But Yeah, our friend
Yeah.
Chris was awesome down in Florida.
What a great family. And then the big news of the week is from the Disney Dream on the Disney Cruise Line ship. A child fell from the fourth floor deck and into the water. Dad jumped in immediately after, rescued the child. I think treaded water for 20 minutes is what I read. There's been a lot of speculation. They said there was no like foul play involved. I think thank God that the child and the dad, survived. Disney said that they got to them within minutes, turned the ship around, which is no small feat. They are incredibly lucky to be alive. Chip, like, did you have any other thoughts on this? Like, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say, but gosh, what a terrible thing. Actually, you know what, Chip, because you love Disney Cruise Line and you're one of our Disney Cruise Line experts, talk a little bit about the safety of these decks.
So yeah, that's been the topic of conversation in my household. My wife and I talked about it yesterday. Is it? We were like, there's glass around there, so how like they show it looks like there's like little like a ladder thing you climb or like a fence type thing, but there's plexiglass, thick plexiglass behind it that you can't climb. There's no way. So then it was like they either push themselves up and over, and it is pretty high, man. I'm gonna say it's at least 4 feet high. It's not like it's a 3 foot, and 4 feet might be taller than that. I know up on the top decks, it is a solid 5 feet because my kids could barely see over it, and the rails, like Axel was completely under it, and so the safety was never a concern. Now, when we would walk that deck 4, deck 3 on the Magic, our kids were always inside of us just because of that fear.
I tell people like it's almost an irrational fear because every parent naturally is scared that their kid is going to find some way to do something crazy, which because we're parents and kids do find ways to do things that are ridiculous. But to Chip's point, like these decks have, like when you're on a veranda, it has plexiglass between your child and the bars of the veranda. So it's not possible for them to climb on the bars themselves because they can't step on them. Like you'd be stepping through the plexiglass. So I think from a safety perspective, there's not much more you can ask for to block your children from being able to climb and jump over
For sure.
because it's almost impossible. And when you see photos like a 4 or 5 year old, that's like their head is where the rail is. And the same goes when you're walking around the public areas of the deck. There's not areas for children to climb because Disney has safety standards that they have to follow and things like that. So it's a really really unfortunate incident. I it blows my mind a little bit. What a terrible incident. But thankfully, they were rescued and the videos are just crazy. I can't imagine treading water in the open ocean for 20 minutes.
When you said 20 minutes, I don't think it was that long. If you watch some of the videos, they get out to them pretty quick. And I had read or seen that they were throwing out something for them to hang on to as well. But
I'd have to go back and look at it. My understanding was that the ship is going one direction. The girl falls out, the dad jumps out, and they start throwing life vests over as the ship is going the opposite way so that they could grab them. And he couldn't get to the life vest, is my understanding.
okay,
He did not have a life vest on. And what you see, and the reason why it took 20 minutes is the ship turns around, and as the ship's turning around, the small lifeboats go out to pick them up. But that whole process, like we've only seen the videos of the lifeboats being out there, but the process of them actually getting out there first took a little bit of
I
time.
know they called it within a minute. I believe is when I
Yeah,
they
they
announced
they,
it.
they call it Mr. MOB, Mr. Mob, some Mr. Man Overboard. Like just a terrible thing to hear if you're on a Disney cruise, but thankfully it just doesn't happen that frequently. So it's not something that should scare people away from cruising, but a terrible incident nonetheless. Let's get into the more fun stuff, Chip, because that's not a topic I really enjoy, but I do feel like we had to touch on it a little bit here, and that's like let's share 10 of our favorite things to do outside of the Walt Disney World parks And you just got done doing a week long trip where you did not set foot into a Walt Disney World theme park, but you were at the resort. So tell us a little bit about your trip and kind of what inspired you to go with your family and go down to Walt Disney World without going into a park.
So one of the big things was my wife and I are both Southwest, both have companion passes, and they go up at the end of the year. So we were sitting there talking after our cruise, and we said, "Oh, we're not going anywhere." And I finally said, "Hey, we got points. Let's go down. We'll stay in our DVC resort, and we'll stay off property a couple nights." She's like, "All right, no parks." I said, "Well, that's okay. We can go to the water park, and we can enjoy the pool and do all that." And she's like, "All right, let's do it." About 2 weeks later, after we booked it, we decided to buy a house. So that was also in the midst of chaos. But my wife also said it was a blessing in disguise because it took her mind off of it for a whole week. And the whole idea was we were just trying to do it on budget friendly, quick service, maybe a sit down meal here or there, but just enjoy the pools, enjoy the free amenities that our kids consider rides, like the Skyliner, like the monorail, like the boats. And even Axel wanted to ride a Disney bus. That's all he wanted to do. Just kept saying Disney bus, Disney bus.
Let's talk about some of the things that you did outside the parks with your family that you really enjoyed. And one of the ones that I know that both of us love is going to Disney Springs. And I think the misconception out there about Disney Springs is that it's just a mall, it's just a shopping center. What are some of the things that you, aside from you and I love to eat, obviously, what are some of the things that you guys like to do or like about Disney Springs with your kids beyond just shopping?
I think the biggest thing is they always have something going on. So we were there on Stitch Day, and they were having like a Stitch scavenger hunt. So we started it. We didn't get it finished just because it was kind of hot at that point of the day, and we had Gideon's cookies, so we didn't want those to melt. But they always have something going on. There's so much different stuff to do. I mean, my kids love taking photos outside of the Lego store. We weren't waiting in the line to get in the Lego store, but we're going to take pictures with the Star Wars characters. Rylan wanted one with Anna and Elsa. The Loch Ness monster. We do that. The Stitch shooting water outside of the world of Disney. I mean, they sat there for 5 minutes trying to get Stitch to spray him with water or whatever. But obviously the eating's one of the best parts of it.
Yeah.
We
The coffee spots, the dessert spots, the restaurants, fantastic.
and we ate. I'll throw this out because we went on a budget. I went in onto Groupon and I got $200 gift cards and saved $20 for Earl a sandwich and for chicken guy.
Oh yeah, that'll do it.
And I will tell you this: chicken guy is a can't miss ever again. It was.
Dude, I've got a friend locally that loves Chicken Guy. I can't miss though. Like, would you? It's I know your favorite at Disney Springs is Chef R. Smith's. You and I both love Polite Pig. Do you put it up there with those two?
I would put it at 4. Gideon's is up there too. Gideon's is in the
Okay,
top 3. I would put it at 4.
interesting.
For quick service. Quick service. I've not had deluxe burger, and there's one burger I really want from deluxe burger.
The biscuit one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's a biscuit cheeseburger that looks fantastic from Deluxe Burger. Yeah.
It's out right now. It came out for the Florida month of July or whatever they're doing at Disney Springs. But I would put it up there, Matt. Like it was one that my kids are kind of picky a little. They had it and they're like, oh my gosh, this is really good. The different sauces. They had a mac and cheese burger or mac and cheese chicken sandwich, a barbecue sandwich. It was just really good. And Kelly's like, all right, we can come back here. And it was very affordable. Like I had $100 gift card and we would have been fine spending $50.
And for people that don't know, Chip's got 5 kids, so it's not like he's a small family going and eating. So eating for under $50 is a big deal. And the one thing I'll note too about the gift card hack there is that there are a lot of those restaurants that are owned by different restaurant companies. There's a different company that owns the Boathouse, and I've done the same thing. I bought a $300 gift card to the Boathouse, and I think I spent like 200 on it, but it was because it was for that group. I think it might have been Gibson's. It was one of those groups that is like a restaurant group, and you could buy from Costco. So definitely check that out because that's definitely an option to help save you some money. I like Gideon's is to me the go-to for Disney Springs. Obviously, that takes a little bit more time, but to Chip's point, there's so many other things that are usually going on there. Right now, they've got the Taste of Florida going on at Disney Springs, but there's usually also like the Christmas tree stroll or the stuff they have for Halloween. Like, there's always something fun to do there that doesn't require you to spend money. There's live music, but there are also other things that you can spend money on, like the cars that go into the water.
Cars, yeah, amphib
Yeah, the
cars.
amphibicars near the boathouse. You can do the one thing that I will never ever do is the fake hot air balloon that's like tethered down, but you can go up really high. So there's a lot of fun stuff there, and it's a great place to people watch, go and hang out in addition to the shopping. So Disney
Yeah.
Springs is a must for us.
I'll
for
say
sure.
this: we were walking to Chicken Guy, man. You know where it's at, and we're walking through the tunnel area where you like get your sunglasses or whatnot. And Kelly's like, "We've never been this far," and I'm like, "Yeah, we don't normally go this side of the it's the
Yeah,
west side. It's the west side of the spring." But yeah, we
yeah,
she
and
didn't
like
she didn't know there's a movie theater down there. She had no idea.
there's a movie theater that's got I mean great options. There's the Cirque du Soleil, which is there. That's a great fun entertainment activity that obviously costs money. You can also go to Splitsville and do bowling there, and they've got great food at Splitsville. So that's something to keep in mind. And that's a good segue when you talk about sports that are available. You also get typically with a Disney vacation package, you get access to the mini golf courses for free, and that is a fun activity also that costs no money. The pain is getting there usually if you don't have a rental car.
I
Like,
I found a hack for one of this, man.
let's hear it.
So the Blizzard Beach is connected to Winter Summerland mini golf. So
Yeah, so you take the bus to Blizzard Beach and then you take a bus over to Winter Summerland, right?
yes, now I don't know how to get the other one is Fantasia Gardens is right next to the Swan and Dolphin. I do know that. I just don't know how to get there. But I will
The,
Blizzard.
the only experience I've ever had is people taking an Uber, and even the one the one Winter Summerland, taking an Uber because it saves you so much more time is just makes more sense
I
if you can with your family.
I know for our resort they were doing it. We stayed at Copper Creek, which is in the Wilderness Lodge. They were doing a direct line to Blizzard Beach, which is
Nice.
which is
So
weird. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, no, well, and that makes sense too because and another great segue here, you get the free water park day on check-in with your Disney vacation. And Chip, you did a great thing which is you arrived in Orlando, you stayed at a different hotel, not Disney related, for what, 1 or 2 nights, right?
We were off property total of 3 nights.
Three nights. So then when you checked into your Disney hotel, you were able to go over there first thing in the morning if you wanted to, and you've got an entire day that you can spend at the water parks,
Yeah.
which they're free. Like, you can't beat that. While you're waiting for your room to be ready, head over to Blizzard Beach or Typhoon Lagoon, completely free to check in. That's also, we've talked about on the show, like a great reason to do a split stay. And if you're not going to the theme parks, why not do a split stay?
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
That
you can get go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say like that we went and checked in. I mean that's one of your hacks is you don't do the pre-check-in on the app. I just went and checked in because I was like, oh, we'll just take the first room available. We don't care. And the lady who helped us was phenomenal. And she's like, yeah, I'll get you in. You guys, are you around here? Are you gonna be gone for the day? I said, we're gonna be at the water park. And she's like, okay, it shouldn't be. You'll be in before 4. And so we're sitting there at Blizzard Beach, and about I don't know what time to text you, like 1:30. Our 2-bedroom was
Mhm.
ready, and I told Kelly, we're fine. Let the kids go for another half hour, and then we'll go back. So it's
Yeah.
it's a great hack. I love that. I love that feature.
Yeah, and it's really great. Like, split stays, I think are a great way. Like, this kind of trip is perfect for if you want to do like 2 nights at a Savannah View at Animal Kingdom Lodge. So you get 2 nights where you can hang out, watch the animals, be in your room, enjoy the resort, don't touch the theme parks, and you can go to the water park your first day if you want to. But Animal Kingdom Lodge has such a great pool that you can stay there, and then you can switch to a different resort in the middle of your vacation and get a full water park day somewhere else. and switch back to save money. You can switch back to a value resort like Pop Century or one of the All Stars, and you get that taste of a deluxe resort the beginning or the end of your vacation, whichever one you prefer. You get the huge water park day, and then you can, if you decide you're going to go into the parks from a value resort, you can do that. I think that's such a, like, the split stays are such a great value when you've got this free water park day that I don't think people realize it and take advantage of it.
And now that I have done both parks for our family, Blizzard Beach is better. We talked about that. That was one of our discussions. We've been to Typhoon Lagoon twice and Blizzard Beach once, and for our family, we'll go back to Blizzard.
And why did you like Blizzard Beach better? Because I get that question a lot. Why would you like Blizzard Beach over Typhoon Lagoon as a family?
I think everything was just closer together. Like all the kids stuff was right there. We knew where it was. And versus Typhoon Lagoon, it feels like everything revolves around the wave pool. Where at Blizzard Beach, the wave pool was there, but everything, all the slides were above it, so everything felt really close together. I think that's the biggest reason why.
Interesting. And so you also had a really unique dining experience for the first time. And I know we talked about it. It was you went to Hoop-Dee-Doo Revue.
Did, yeah.
What were your thoughts? And it's not the only dining experience that kind of feels like an event. You can do that with pretty much any character meal at Walt Disney World that's outside the parks. 1900 Park Fair comes to mind. We talk about Chef Mickey's at the Contemporary, Storybook Dining at Artist Point. There's a lot of different character dining options outside the parks, but Hoop-Dee-Doo Revue is a different animal. Tell us a little bit, like, for those that don't know, what is Hoop-Dee-Doo Revue, and like, tell us a little bit about your experience with that.
So Hoop-Dee-Doo Revue, musical review, I guess. It is a old time Western feel show. I believe it's the longest running dinner theater show in America or the world. I don't know, one of those two. But it's an all you care to enjoy.
I doubt it's the world, Chip.
No, continuously running. I believe it is actually.
Oh, maybe.
Now we're a fact check. I know in the United States it is.
Yep.
I don't know about the world, but I know in the United States it is. And it's an all you care to enjoy meal. It's like fried chicken and ribs and cornbread, mac and cheese. It's over at Fort Wilderness. For those that have never been to Fort Wilderness, it is kind of a haul or kind of a pain to get to. You got to go to Magic Kingdom and then catch a bus or a boat over Fort Wilderness. I had been there one other time. I'd never been to Hoop-Dee-Doo, but I was at Mickey's Backyard Barbecue back in the day, which is where they're building the new hotel, Matt.
Lakeshore Lodge.
Yes, which looks beautiful. But it's one you check in. They tell you to get there a half hour early, check in, and then you just wait to get sat. It was really cool. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really fun. It's a comedy musical show.
What did your kids and your wife think?
My wife said, "I don't need to do it again for about 5 years." No, but like she had.
I love Kelly.
The lady who does her nails says we must do it every time. And she's like,
Yeah.
it was cool. It was cool, good, but my older kids liked it. The younger ones, I don't think they really knew.
Yeah.
But
And for those that, like, just to do the fact check here, Hoop-Dee-Doo Revue debuted in 1974 as a summer only event. It became a permanent show on September 5th, 1974, and is one of the longest running dinner shows in the United States. It has been running for over 50 years with over 41,000 performances. That's wild.
and listen, I don't think they've changed it. They've updated it and whatnot. But it was unique. I want to do it again. I think it'd be fun to do with like a group. I will say one of the best perks that I enjoyed was they did have unlimited beer and wine and sangria for the adults. So that was
Nice.
that was a cool perk. It was about a 2-hour performance. We walked out of there about 5:55.
Yeah, that's and that's a full evening, So you're getting your money's worth, food, drinks, entertainment, all of those things. And when you talk about going over to Fort Wilderness, you were not staying there, right?
No, we were at Wilderness Lodge. So there's a lot of.
So how did you get there?
So luckily for us, there is a bus that runs between the lodges or between Fort Wilderness and Wilderness Lodge. I think it's because people get confused and are unsure of which is which.
Hmm.
But then you can also take a boat because there's a boat that goes from the Contemporary to Wilderness Lodge, to Fort Wilderness, and back. So it makes it fine.
Yeah. Did you do any of the other like unique activities at either Fort Wilderness or Wilderness Lodge?
We did some of the stuff at Wilderness Lodge. Fort Wilderness, we were going to go over to the look at the horses because the horse barn is, I don't know, Matt, 50 yards from Hoop-Dee-Doo. But it was just being so hot. Kelly's like, I don't want to go in a smelly barn. I grew up in a farm anyways. I know what horses look like. But they also had, I mean, we saw the golf carts. We played on the playground over there. Um, at Wilderness Lodge, I will say we took advantage of the s'mores a couple times.
Mhm.
They do the campfire at night. We also took advantage of the characters in the lobby a couple times. I was really trying to think off the top of my head.
There's a lot of at every resort. There's usually a lot of activities going on. So there's usually movie nights in the like whatever the common area is at the resort outside. Movies under the stars. There's also usually the campfire with s'mores at a lot of the resorts. Right now, because of Cool Kids Summer, there's a lot of characters that are coming to the resorts for different periods of time. It's kind of random, but now they're actually showing the times available for the characters at most of the resorts. That's not a permanent thing. That's supposed to only be for Cool Kids Summer. I really hope that they keep it. But normally outside of the Cool Kids Summer promotion, characters will randomly show up. Typically, it's usually just the deluxe resorts, but they'll show up at different times in a bus and come and say hi to different kids as they're walking around. But there's also other really cool, unique activities at some of the resorts. So you can do horse-drawn carriage rides, you can rent boats, you can rent bikes, you can go fishing, you can rent fishing rods, you can go horseback riding, you can check out the horses. Like the recreation options are things that you don't normally hear about. You can go on Segway tours. There's just a lot of really fun, unique things that you don't have to do in the parks that you won't even realize that you're still at Disney World when you're doing.
What's the 4-seater bicycle? You know what I'm talking about? We were over at Boardwalk and people were doing that. I don't. There's a name for it. I know.
I don't remember the name for it either, but there's a lot of different like bike rental options. Surrey bikes,
Surrey
right?
bikes. Yes, yes,
Surrey
yes.
bikes, yeah. So there's a lot of different bike options for rentals, and each resort kind of, especially the deluxe resorts, has some unique options available that you should check into, especially if you're considering a resort only trip like this. And that's like the biggest key that we want to get across on the show is that so many people book their resort and they don't think about all the things that they can do. They go for the first time and they plan on just being in the parks 24/7. And you'll have a much better, in my opinion, a much better Disney vacation if you plan out some activities to do at your resort because you don't have to be in your theme park 24 hours a day at Disney. It's like there's so many other things that you can do at your resorts that your kids are going to have a blast with. One of the last things that I want to touch on, Chip, is exploring the monorail and Skyliner resorts because doing a monorail crawl, doing a Skyliner crawl, which just means finding a way to get your transportation over to one of those resorts and riding them around and checking out the resorts on those lines is a blast and it costs no money. So, one of the things you can do, Chip, you and I have both done this. You can get bus transportation. If you want to do the monorail crawl, for example, you get bus transportation over to Magic Kingdom, and then you hop on the monorail and you ride it around to the Contemporary. You can get off there, Polynesian or Grand Floridian. All of those you can get off and walk around, check out the resorts, check out the dining options. You can get the cafeteria, quick service style options. Each of those resorts has like shopping and bars and lounges and different things you can go and check out without reservations. You can either find a way to get transportation to one of the Skyliner resorts, or you can take a bus or transportation over to Hollywood Studios, hop on the Skyliner there, and you can go and check out the different value resorts that are on the Skyliner. You can go to Caribbean Beach, get the best coffee at Disney, which is the toffee flight, which my boy Chip got on this last trip. You can also go over to Riviera, check out Riviera and go over there, or you can take it all the way through and get off at EPCOT. Once you get off at EPCOT, you can go and explore the boardwalk, the Dolphin, Beach Club, Yacht Club. Like there's so much you can do. And when you get over to the boardwalk, there's Abracadabra. You can get a drink, you can get some wine, all kinds of different stuff you can check out. The corn dogs there are fantastic. Did you guys get to spend any time at the boardwalk, Chip, or did you
So
mostly stick with Riviera?
no, we spent probably about an hour at the boardwalk. That was kind of one of our things. We wanted to tour future resorts for us to stay at, and the boardwalk was one of them. And I've never walked really through it, so we went to the boardwalk. We actually stopped at the corn dog spot, Blue Ribbon corn dogs, I believe. We didn't get one, but the guy was like, "Here's what they look like." And but no, we spent a lot of time at the boardwalk. Great shop. You told me to go check out their shop because that was one of the things we were doing. Everybody in my family except myself has a Spirit jersey. Thanks, Matt. But that was it. We just spent some time just kind of looking at the pools because that's one of the big things is are the pools good for our kids for that vacation. Now I will say this, man. One of the biggest things is we didn't go to a park, and this was the first time my wife said we need more DVC.
Uh, have you bought them yet?
We did not buy them. We got to buy windows for this house, and then
There you go. People ask me about DVC all the time, and we talked a little bit about that promotion that they have for the gift card opportunity. Like, if you're interested in DVC, you should really spend. Don't spend as much time on the internet trying to learn about it because it's a really complicated subject. It's a timeshare, and whether or not you're going to get your money worth or whatever is kind of a different debate. But you should go and spend the time with Disney so that they can answer your questions, and they're not salesy and pushy the way like other timeshare presentations may be. I never felt uncomfortable. I never felt like they were trying to push me to buy points or anything like that. For me, DVC doesn't make sense because I'm a travel agent. If DVC is right for you, you should consider it if you go to
and
Disney frequently.
talking about that. So we went on a tour. I said I wanted to get some numbers and get them. So then I just walked down to the person at the Copper Creek and I was like, "Hey, can I meet with somebody? I just want to get numbers." And the guy I met with, Todd, he was phenomenal. He's like, "Yeah, here are the numbers." I said, "Hey, Todd, I really appreciate it, but we're just not going to buy any at this time." So it was very nonchalant. Like I left with the numbers. So like on my email, I could tell you how much if I want to buy a certain point. No other timeshares thing is going to do that where there's no negotiating. Here's the price.
Yeah, and I will say like people DVC is right for a very specific subset of people, and it's pretty rare. Like there's not a lot of people that it's a good fit for, but the ones that it's a really good opportunity. So definitely check it out if you're that into going to Walt Disney World. You're going once a year plus that kind of thing. But that's gonna wrap it up for us. And I would love if you have other things that you love to do at the parks, other things you like to do at the resorts or outside of the parks, let us know. Leave a comment or send us an email. We'd love to hear about it. If you think we missed anything, make sure that you keep us in check. But that's going to wrap up today's episode. Hopefully, it gives you some fresh ideas on how to slow things down and experience some Disney magic when you're not in the parks. If you found this helpful, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, leave a review on Apple or Spotify, and share this episode with a friend who's planning their next Disney vacation. And hey, if you are wanting help building your park day strategy, booking your dining, booking Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, figuring out the best way to use Multipass, I'd love to help you. My travel planning services are 100% free. You can grab a quote at the link in the show notes. You'll also find planning guides, free tools, and our latest blog posts on adventuresofadisneydad.com. Thanks for listening, and we will see you in the parks.